Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a new video on expatksa.com YouTube channel. In this video, I will talk about local Hajj for residents and citizens living in Saudi Arabia, and I will explain step-by-step procedure and process that you need to follow. All information communicated through this video is based on my personal experience after performing Hajj last year. So here is the detail of all the things that I will cover during this video. I will explain step-by-step process for performing Hajj locally as a resident or a citizen in Saudi Arabia. You will know how to apply for Hajj permit or a tasri, how to travel from your city to Mecca, then how to perform welcome tawaf after reaching Mecca, what are the steps after that for going to Mina and staying in the camps, and how you travel from the camp towards Arafat ground for Waquf Arafat on 9th of Dhul Hijjah. Then I will talk about how you spend your night in Muzdalifah on 10th of Dhul Hijjah. Then I will talk about how you do the stoning on 10th of Dhul Hijjah on Jamarat, and then how you perform Tawaf Ziyara and how you perform Tawaful Bida. And I'll also talk about what are the important things that you need to keep in considerations in terms of the necessary items that you need to carry with you, or anything else that is related to these rituals that you perform during these days in Hajj. So the first thing and the most important thing to do the Hajj legally and in a legal way is to have your tasri or Hajj permit. In order to get this Hajj permit or tasri, you need to visit official website of Hajj and Umrah Ministry and apply for a Hajj permit. Usually this is done on 1st of Dhul Qada, but it's important to understand that there is a process of selecting a wish list of your packages even before that. So you need to keep visiting official website of Ministry of Hajj, and then once there is a date announced for this Hajj permit, normally on 1st of Dhul Qada, then you need to select your package and you need to make the payment and get your permit printed. It's very important that you choose your package very wisely depending on your needs and your desires, as there are different Hajj companies and different type of packages are offered. Some of them are budget packages, some of them are VIP type of packages, and each package, depending on the price of the package, offers different type of services. You need to consider your preferences. For example, there are different camp categories for different packages, and each camp category is different in terms of its location or its distance from Jamarat, its distance from Arafat, and also type of food that is provided in different packages varies in terms of its standards or its quality. And also different type of camps offer different type of air conditioning, different type of transportation. Some of them provide you train services, some of them provide you bus services. And also it's important that you know uh, some of the previous experience of your colleagues or your friends for different type of companies, as there are certain Hajj companies who have very good reputation and great standards, while it may not be the case for certain companies offering their services. And it's very important for you to make sure that you get the permit, as it's a crime and subject to severe consequences if you go for a Hajj without a permit. Ministry of Hajj and all the law enforcement agencies and authorities take very strict actions, and they have proper procedures and process to ensure that only those people reach for Hajj who have valid permits. So religiously and as well as a citizen or as a resident living in Saudi Arabia, it's much advised and recommended that you follow the right path, as you are going for a ritual and for ibadah. And if you're going for a Hajj, and if you're not following the rules of a country where you are living, then it's something not recommended. So before I proceed with the steps that you need to follow, It's important to know that what type of Hajj you are going to perform, as there are variances and different variants available, and you choose accordingly, and then according to that, you opt for other things. For example, if you are living in Saudi Arabia, you have one simple option of Hajj Ifrad. This is a simplest form of Hajj, which is Hajj without Umrah. And in this case of Hajj, also you don't have to do the sacrifice or hadi of any animal, and you have one intention, and with one intention you just go for Hajj. Normally you go on 8th or 7th of Zulhijjah, depending on the schedule specified by the Hajj company that you choose. Then there is a Hajj Tamattu, and this type of Hajj has separate intentions, a separate niyyah for Umrah and Hajj. And normally, in this case, Hajj Tamattu, you first go for your Umrah before 8th of Zulhijjah, and you do all the Umrah rituals, you shave your head, and then again on 8th of Zulhijjah, 8th of Zulhijjah, you go back with the intention of Hajj only and directly go to the Mina and then perform your Hajj rituals. There is another type of Hajj which is Hajj Kiran. In this case, there is combined niyyah of Hajj and Umrah. So with one intention or with one niyyah, you go on 8th, 7th or 8th, whatever the date is decided by your Hajj company, and you travel to Makkah and then you perform your Umrah and then proceed with the Hajj. So, first of all, it's very important to know that whenever you are going for Hajj, for sure you are going to stay there for a minimum of 3 days. Some people go for Mutahira, some people go for Mutajila. So, depending on that, you stay there for a certain number of days. So, whatever number of days you are going to stay there, it's important that you do carry all the important items with you so that you don't suffer any problems while staying there in Mina or staying there in Mecca. So first, very important thing which should be always with you is your identity or your Iqama, as that's your primary source of identifications. And traveling or moving anywhere in Saudi Arabia by not carrying your Iqama is a crime or it's subject to punishment. So you should make sure that you are carrying your Iqama with you, and ideally you should have some cash, or if you are using a debit or credit card, that should be also with you, just in case if you find a need to buy something or spend money anything on anything there. For example, maybe you need to avail some taxi services, you need to travel somewhere for certain cases where official transport is not available. So in any case, for food or anything, you might be in a need of cash, so it's recommended that you carry some cash with you. Second important thing is that you should have a spare ihram to wear while staying in Mina. If you are going from Jeddah or anywhere from nearby, you will be in the state of ihram directly when you're leaving from your home, or in case you're coming from Riyadh or some other city or Dammam or any other city, and miqat is on your waist, then you will be wearing ihram while passing through the miqat, and that is one ihram, but it's recommended and it's much advised that you should have separate ihram also with you, just in case your first ihram gets dirty, or in any case if you need, if you're staying this many days, then there can be a situation where you need to change your ihram, so you should have separate ihram with you. Many people have even two ihrams separately with them, but more luggage means a big bag with you, so sometimes it's become difficult to manage, so at least one should be there. And then you should have separate at least 2 to 3 suits or pieces of dress with you, is if you're wearing any kind of dress. For example, if you prefer trousers, if you prefer shalwar kameez as used in India and Pakistan, or if you have any Arabic dress, whatever dress you prefer, you should keep it with you, as after going out of the state of Iran, most probably on 10th of Dhul Hijjah, after that you will be free from the restrictions of Iran, then you will have to wear these clothes. So if you don't have these clothes, it's become very difficult to stay in Iran clothes all the times. And then there are certain other basic items, like you should have some painkillers with you, you should have face masks, you should have Vaseline, as you will be traveling a lot, you will be walking a lot, so sometimes it becomes a need to apply this Vaseline on your legs. And you should have soap, towel, etc., toothbrush, toothpaste, and these are the basic things. And you should also don't forget to have your mobile phone and mobile charger with you. Remember that I just mentioned a few things here. Depending on your needs or your circumstances, you might think that few of these things are not important for you, or you might think that there are few more things that are important for you to carry. For example, some people also prefer to have separate prayer mat with them, which they use while praying in Arafat ground or anywhere else. So it depends on your circumstances or your preferences, and accordingly, you should make sure that all the important items which you consider are important should be with you. You should have sandals with you, and also if it's better if you have separate sandal or shoes also with you, just in case the one that you are wearing gets torn out or something goes wrong with that. And it's also important that if there are any regulation, for example, when I was performing Hajj last year, vaccination was a mandatory requirement. So it's important that you go through all these regulatory requirements, and if vaccination is required, you should go for vaccination, and after that you should get the vaccination card or vaccination paper or certificate with you, and that should be carried by you, just in case some officials ask you to show that, you should be able to show that. All right, so the things to do before you travel for Hajj. The first important thing is that you should prepare a bag with all the necessary items that we just discussed. And if you have to pass through Miqat on the way, like if you are coming from Riyadh or from Dammam or any other city, then you will wear ihram from there. But if you are living in Jeddah or nearby, then most probably you will wear ihram from home directly. And after wearing ihram, uh, from whom you will start traveling. But before you wear the ihram, you should perform all the basic rituals, like you should go for a ghusl or a proper bath, and then you should wear ihram. And after wearing the ihram, you should perform 2 rakat of nafal with the niyyah of your hajj, and then you should pray to God Almighty for your hajj, and pray to Allah whatever you have in your heart for a successful and for a easy and convenient completion of your hajj. And also it's very important that you plan in a proper way to make sure that you reach designated gathering point well in time. Normally hajj company which you have selected as part of your package, they will communicate with you through phone and through WhatsApp messages about the time when you will have to gather, and the designated point where you will have to gather, and all the people as part of that company will have to gather there, and from there they will do the needful to take you to the buses, and then your traveling to Mecca will start. So now once you have reached to your designated point, then the next important step is to traveling towards Mecca. I mentioned 7th or 8th of Dhul Hijjah, because it depends. Some companies take their people on 7th of Dhul Hijjah, while some others go on 8th of Dhul Hijjah. So this is something that will be communicated to you by the company, and it will be according to your package. If you are choosing Mutajila or Mutakhira, and in that case, they will plan accordingly. For me, I was asked to reach gathering point in Jeddah on evening of 7th of Dhul Hijjah, and there I saw that there was a big hall with all the facilities, and there was proper seating available there with proper air conditioning. There were juices and also fresh fruits for us, and we were served very good there. And by the way, I was doing the Hajj with Mashail Al Noor company. I think there is no harm in mentioning the name, as they did a great job for us. And after arrival there, they also assigned us guides, which they call as mushrifs, and divided us in groups. And once we were assigned our mushrif, then we were in a comfortable state to talk to that guy, and he gave us the required document. Actually, there was a card that he gave us to hold it and put it with us all the times. And then they also pasted some stickers on our luggage with some marking, so that we are identified and our luggage can be identified by them as well. And they also asked us to make sure that we have printed tasri or permit with us. They were having their computers and printing facility for people who did not have the printed copies of their tasri. They were kind enough to print for us. After that, they sent us to the buses. They designated buses, and then Uh, Before that, they asked us to find confirm whoever wants to go for tawaful for the welcome tawaf, and those who said that they want to go for welcome tawaf, they were put in a separate bus, and those who said that they directly want to go to Mina, as they were people with the Hajj tamattu, as they have already done their tawaf, their umrah before 8th of Dhul Hijjah, so they were taken directly to the Mina. So they had to be taken directly to the Mina. So accordingly, we were boarded in the buses. Buses were quite good and with proper air conditioning. And once we were seated in the buses, after that they also offered us dry snacks and juices, which was good enough for us during the journey. And when we were traveling to Mecca on the way, different checkposts, at least at one checkpost, police officials came inside the bus, and one by one they checked Hajj permit of each and every person by reading the barcode, and they ensured that there is no one illegal. As I stated before, it's very important for you to make sure that you have a valid tasri with you, and you are going for Hajj as in a legal way. So after we reached Mecca, uh, if we have to perform Umrah or Tawaf, depending on the type of Hajj that we are doing for Kiran or Ifrad, we were first dropped at the bus station since we were going from Jeddah. So Kodai bus station in Mecca was designated for us. There, we saw that there's a proper camp available for our company, and there they dropped us, and then they briefed us that you will have to go at your own to Haram, and you will have to perform your Umrah or Tawaf, whatever you want to perform. And then they gave us some time for, I remember it was 4 a.m. in the morning. They said that you have to come, make sure that you reach back here in Kudai bus station before 4 a.m. in the morning. So when we reached there, they also told us that you don't need to worry about your luggage. Keep luggage in the buses, and we will take care of your luggage, and we will make sure that we take your luggage to the camp before you come back. So from Kudai, there were some government buses, as our company buses, Hajj company buses were not going. So we were seated in some other buses at our own, and then we went to Haram. And after reaching Haram, since I was doing Ifrat, so I just went for Tawaf. And if you're doing Ifrat, then you just do the Tawaf. So if you're doing Kiran, that you need to perform full Umrah. So you will need to travel at your own from Kudai, as I mentioned before. So after performing Tawaf, and after finishing my required rituals, I went back to Kudai, just since it was mentioned that we need to reach there before 4 a.m. I was able to reach well before time, as I didn't face too much crowded situation in Mecca while performing my tawaf. So after I reached back to Kodai, now buses were already there. So after reaching Kodai, I had some juices and some dry food from there in the camp, and then we were seated in the buses, and buses took us directly to Mina camps. So we were taken to the camp as designated and allocated to us. And after I reached the camp, it was a good surprise for me, as everything there was well planned. Camp was quite good, and they have proper facilities, proper air conditioning, proper system for food. There was a small medical facility also available, and a doctor or a paramedical staff, I'm not sure he was a proper doctor or what, but there was medical facility also available, just in case if you need any medical assistance. And then we reached to our camp, and since we were already tired, so they asked us to stay there to have our breakfast and then have some rest. So it was 8th of the Dhul Hijjah, so they told us that you have to spend this whole day here, just relax, just whatever. If you want to pray, if you want to do anything, you can do. But on 9th of Dhul Hijjah, after Fajr, you will be taken to Arafat for Wuquf Arafat, which is the biggest part of Hajj rituals. So on 9th of Dhul Hijjah, they took us to travel for Wuquf Arafat, to spend whole day in Arafat. This After Fajr, we did the breakfast and started our travel. And in our company, we were given the train facility, but we noticed that there was too much crowd to reach to the train station. It took for us, the train station was just I think 200 to 300 meters away from our camp, but still it took an hour or even more than that for us to travel to that train station, as there were people coming from all across towards the train station. And authorities or those law enforcement agencies were making sure that people reach to the train in a proper way, in organized way. So they were stopping from one side and allowing other side, then stopping the second side, allowing the third side. In this way they managed the crowd, and we were able to reach to the train station after hustle of maybe 1 hour or more. But we were all traveling in proper with the proper guidance from the company, and the company flags and the hoardings were there, big flags were there. So we were able to identify that these are our people. And once we reached to the train station and we boarded in the train, we were already given the train tickets with the bands, wristbands were there. And there were barcodes in that those ribbons, and it was automatically identified by the scanners there. So after reaching to the train station, the train took us to Arafat, and we reached Arafat maybe at 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. And once we reached Arafat, there were proper camping facility and proper good air conditioned camps by the company. And we went to the camps. First we were given the breakfast, and after the breakfast, inside the camps, uh, we were waiting for the Hajj khutbah to start. And khutbah was started, and then some of the people opted to go directly to the open grounds, and they traveled toward Masjid Nimra and to the mountains near the Arafat. But most of the people preferred to stay inside the camps, as camps were also within the vicinity of Arafat, within the Arafat ground, so it was quite permissible and legal, and quite there was no harm in staying there. So we stayed inside the camp, and from there we listened to the khutbah, and after that we stood there. And remember that on 9th of Dhul Hijjah, you do the prayers of Dhuhr and Asr together. And after that we were staying there, and there was some situation of rain started, and that was quite sentimental situation. People were going out praying to Almighty Allah, and quite it was a very pleasant experience that I had over there. And after that, once we were done with all the rituals there, it's necessary to leave for Muzdalifah on 9th of Dhul Hijjah after the sunset. So after spending all the day in Arafat, it's important that you travel to Muzdalifah after sunset. So we again used the train service, and again we faced the same situation of too much crowd over the train station, but it was well managed, and they were making sure that people reach to the train station in a proper organized manner. So after reaching to the train station, we started our travel to Muzdalifah. And Muzdalifah is quite near from Arafat when traveling through train. And after reaching a train station in Muzdalifah, it was a quite long journey, maybe more than 30 minutes on foot to travel to our camp in Muzdalifah for our company. And once we reached there, I think it was already time of Isha, and Maghrib and Isha as Qasr, and together we performed there. We after that we were given some dry food to eat. And remember that in Muzdalifah, your camp will not be with the roof. It's open air, and you spend your night under the open sky. And it was a little hot as well there, as if it's as obviously, since there was no direct closed camp, so there was no air conditioning for us, and it was a bit of hot, but that was fine, as we were having proper carpeting underneath. We were given pillows, and we were able to sleep well. At the same time, there people start collecting pebbles and stones as it's recommended that you collect all the pebbles there, which you will use for stoning at Jamarat, starting from 10th of Dhul Hijjah. So a total of minimum of 49 stones you need if you want to do the stoning on 10th, 11th, and 12th of Dhul Hijjah. If you want to do on 13th as well, you need another 21. And after collecting all these pebbles, we were given proper small bags for putting all these stones. So we put all our stones as required in those small bags, and then you need to travel from Muzdalifah towards Mina to start throwing stones on Jamarat on 10th of Dhul Hijjah. It's important to know that normally it's sunnah to leave Muzdalifah after Fajr prayer, but according to the requirements and regulatory requirements of the ministry, sometimes you have to change your timelines, as it's important that crowd is managed properly. So crowd management is the responsibility of ministry. So they accordingly direct you or advise you the suitable times when you have to travel. So I was seeing that for some companies, they were even traveling before Fajr, and some of them traveling after Fajr. So in either case, you will be traveling from Muzdalifah back towards Mina. This time we will be going to, if you are going to train, you will go to Mina train station number 3. And we were able to reach Mina station number 3, and there was a journey on foot after dropping on the Mina station. And there is a roundabout kind of journey which you travel just to make sure that there is no overcrowding and there is no stampede type of thing there. So you need to they manage the crowd very well, and you reach to the place where you have to start the stoning. So on 10th of Dhul Hijjah, which is also known as Yom al Nahar, the sacrifice day, on this day you throw stones only on the Jamaratul Aqaba, the biggest pillar or biggest satin. So on this day you don't stone all the three satins, you rather stone only the Jamaratul Aqaba, and you just throw 7 stones on that satin. After this sacrifice al hadi, which we call qurban in Urdu, it will be performed by those who are performing tamattu or qiran hajj. Those who are performing ifrad, in ifrad hajj there is no sacrifice, so it's not mandatory for them to do this. And normally, for this hadi or sacrifice, you do the payment along with the package payment when you are buying the package, and then your company or responsible company for this hadi takes care of all the things for your sacrifice, and you receive an SMS confirmation once your sacrifice on your behalf is performed. And after you receive the SMS confirmation about your hadi, then you can now opt for hulk or shaving your head. And once you are done with the hadi and you are done with the hulk, then you are free from the restriction of ihram. Then you can just uh, remove your ihram and wear normal clothes. And it's important to know that stoning on 10th of Zulhijjah should be done anytime after Fajr. And Sunnah is to perform this after sunrise to midday, but you should follow the guidelines of the ministry to avoid the crowding, as it's very important to avoid the crowding over there. So whatever the guidelines are there from ministry, you should follow that to avoid any type of inconvenience for others. Now, after you are done with the stoning and on 10th, and you are done with the hulk, then you can go for tawaf ziyara. This tawaf ziyara is done only after you are done with the hadi and your stoning, and then you can go for this uh, only for kiran or tamattu cases. It must be done only after sacrifice. But if you are doing ifrad, then you can directly go for this tawaf ziyara just after stoning on 10th of Dhul Hijjah. It's not mandatory to go for tawaf ziyara on 10th of Dhul Hijjah only. If you have any problems, or if you want to make sure that you are going as per plan, go and are directed by your company, Hajj company or Hajj ministry, then you can plan it accordingly, as it's permissible to do it anytime from 10th of Dhul Hijjah and before the sunset of 12th of Dhul Hijjah. But most of the people try to do it on 10th of Dhul Hijjah. If you're doing Hajj Ifrad or Qiran and you didn't do Sa'i on welcome tawaf, then you can opt for sa'i after tawaf ziyarah. But for tamattu, sa'i is mandatory for tawaf ziyarah. And it's also important to note that you will have to go at your own for Tawaf Ziyarah, as there is no transport provided by Hajj companies for this, at least for the year in which I performed the Hajj. And this is the most difficult journey that you will come across, as you are already tired for the full day spending in Arafat and Muzdalifah. And on this day, when you are going to travel to Haram from Mina, you will see that there will be no traffic, and most of the people are going on their own by walking. And also some people know the places far away from where they can find taxi or buses or any transport, but again for that also you will have to travel walk a lot. So be prepared for this journey, and you will have to walk a lot. So you should be fit for this walking, as many people I saw while traveling on foot, and that they were in quite difficult situation, as most many of the people, either who are aged or who are sick or who have any problems walking, they were quite in a trouble situation. But in either case, you should make a mind that you will have to travel like this. And also I observed that some people who were facing problem and traveling on this, they were going on 11th or 12th of Dhul Hijjah, and those days just after passing traveling a little bit, they were able to find taxis. So it's all about uh, your health conditions and your own preferences. But whatever case, you will have to go to tawaf, this tawaf ziyarah, which is also called tawaf ifada, and you will perform the tawaf as usual after reaching in haram. And after this tawaf, now you will have to go back to Mina for the remaining 2 days. So on 11th and 12th of Dhul Hijjah, you will be spending these 2 days in Mina, and you will be performing the rituals of stoning or throwing pebbles on uh, all the Jamarat this time. Remember, on 10th of Dhul Hijjah, you were throwing the stones on only Jamratul Aqaba, the big Saturn, but this time on 11th and 12th, you will be throwing pebbles on all the three Jamarat, and you will be throwing 7 stones or 7 pebbles on each of these Jamarat. And it's not allowed to throw stones before Zawal time, and it's sunnah to throw the pebbles after Zawal until sunset. But again, I will say that you will need to plan for this according to the ministry guidelines and according to the guidelines as specified by your mushrif or the company with whom you are performing your Hajj rituals. As all of them make sure that there is no crowding or there is no unforeseen situation because of overcrowding in Jamarat. And it's important to know that if you want to leave Makkah after the stoning or Rami on 12th, then you should leave before sunset. In any case, if you're not able to leave before sunset, then you will be obliged, and it's mandatory for you to do the stoning on 13th of Dhul Hijjah as well. So you should plan accordingly. If you can stay for another day, it's even good if you can stay for 13 and do the stoning on 13th as well. But if you want to leave, then you should leave before sunset on 12th of Dhul Hijjah. So the next step will be performing Tawaful Wida, which is the final Tawaf before you depart from Mecca. This is mandatory, or it's a wajib Tawaf to perform before you depart from Mecca. Tawaful Wida can be performed anytime after performing Tawaful Ziyarah or Tawaful Ifada, but it's advised to do it before you depart from Mecca. Any tawaf that you perform after Tawaf Ziyarah, even if you did not make an intention, will be considered as your Tawaful Wida. Tawaf al-Wida is performed as usual by having 7 rounds around Kaaba, and it's performed, and then you perform 2 rakat of nafal as you do in case of any tawaf at Maqam Ibrahim. In this case, for Tawaf al-Wida, there is no sa'i performed after this tawaf. And as usual, it's recommended that you drink zamzam after the tawaf. So after you are done with this, then the next thing is just to leave Mecca after Alhamdulillah completing your Hajj. And uh, normally whatever Hajj company from which you bought the package, they are responsible to take you back to your designated spot or your city from where you were taken with them. So they will arrange transportation for you back to your home city as well. and they will guide you about the designated spot there where you need to come after performing this tawaful wida. And normally, for example, for me, since I was from Jeddah, so they asked us to come back to their designated spot in Kudai. So we reached there, and buses were already there. Some juices and some dry snacks were there for us. And then we were seated in the buses, and those buses picked us and commuted us back to Jeddah in the designated spot in the same hall where we were gathered in the beginning. So once we reached there, we disembarked and we completed our Hajj rituals. And Alhamdulillah, we were coming back to our homes after completing all the Hajj rituals. So I hope that this information that I communicated to you through this video will be helpful. And don't forget to remember me in your prayers when you're performing Hajj, when you're performing Tawaf, when you're performing your Umrah. And also don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you are able to get latest videos from this channel whenever I upload. Thank you very much.